failure to lock down earlier may have cost lives. Had the lockdown been imposed 1 week earlier than the 23rd of March, the evidence suggests that the number of deaths in England alone in the first wave up until the 1st of July 2020 would have been reduced by 48%. That is approximately 23,000 fewer deaths.
So the findings of the UK COVID inquiry are in, and it cost about £200 million to conclude that 23,000 lives might have been saved if stricter lockdowns had been implemented earlier by Boris Johnson. That's right, we needed to lock down harder and sooner, apparently. But remember Sweden? Sweden didn't do any kind of lockdown, never fully locked down, and they actually performed better in several key areas than many countries that did lockdown did. So what's going on? Think back to lockdown. Do you remember when you could queue outside McDonald's for a Big Mac, but you couldn't go to the gym? If we were really prioritising public health, how does restricting exercise while permitting McDonald's and Burger King make any sense whatsoever? And then there's the wider impact. Many people called the NHS the National COVID Service at that time. It was like we forgot about all other ailments, any other conditions. So many other services were scaled back. Cancer screenings, mental health, essential operations were all delayed because of COVID. It was the only thing that you could mention in a hospital or a doctor's. The average age of those who died with COVID, because remember it was with COVID, not from COVID. In many cases you could be hit by a car, and if you found to have had COVID, you died with COVID. The average age was 83, slightly higher than the UK life expectancy of around 82. And yeah, all lives matter, but was it really right to suspend nearly all other health priorities to try and contain a virus that was highly transmissible from the beginning? Also remember the fact that the UK already had a pandemic preparedness strategy based on prior scientific guidance. Yet instead of following that established protocol, the government introduced unprecedented measures that weren't part of the original plan. And they used what was known as the nudge unit, behavioural psychology techniques, to shape public behaviour. Fear was used as a tool. Do you remember Matt Hancock? Remember his leaked message when he said, "I want to frighten the pants off everyone with the new variant"? And it worked. Many genuinely believed that following every restriction wasn't just responsible, but it was heroic. They were told that by staying indoors and doing nothing, they were saving lives. People really felt like they were heroes, didn't they? I'm saving lives by locking myself in the house and not seeing family. For many, that messaging had a deep psychological impact. People became almost obsessed with COVID, not because they were weak, but because they were constantly made to feel under threat. Some still describe themselves as, "I'm still COVIDing, I'm still living on COVID mode." I see groups on Facebook still COVIDing, and they become attached to isolation, continuously wearing masks or sometimes two masks. It was relentless. People actually developed OCD and became compulsive about washing hands and hygiene, and many also became reclusive. You couldn't see them, they locked themselves in the house. They believed that by making everyone comply, they were helping protect each other. But in reality, that behavioural pressure, the enforced conformity, actually had devastating consequences on mental health, on social connection, on childhood development, on attention span, even how we live and interact. So much damage was done. Even the measures themselves were often very questionable. Remember being told to stay 6 feet apart, but now we know that that was actually just an arbitrary number plucked out of the air. It wasn't based on any scientific evidence whatsoever. And people were fined for breaching the lockdown rules, only later to be compensated. I know that Piers Corbyn won many cases because he was unlawfully fined for hanging out with friends during a lockdown. Those fines were unlawful. Possibly the worst part of it all was the funerals. Remember the video of some jobs worth pushing people back, saying, oh, you can't sit next to each other 6 feet apart. People were denied the chance to be with their dying relatives. Many weren't allowed to attend funerals or hold a loved one's hand in the final moments. Human compassion was sacrificed in the name of policy, of nonsense, made up policy. We have to ask the question, were the decisions made truly grounded in balanced science and public well-being, or were they driven by fear, pressure, and flawed modelling? It was all modelling. And it's modelling that's telling you that these 23,000 or 23 million, whatever they think it is, lives could have been saved. And for those who pushed hardest for the lockdowns, who believed that by shutting society down they were saving lives, is it possible that despite good intentions, the policies they supported caused greater harm in the long run? How much damage have we done? If we don't confront these questions now, how can we possibly avoid repeating the same mistakes in the next crisis? And as Bill Gates said, believe me, they will listen next time. Yeah, there's another one coming, apparently. He must know something that we don't.